Hello everyone, welcome back. Today I'm going to be ranking every single mainline Pokemon game, kind of. There's a couple in this tier list that I wanted included but aren't technically mainline games, but I wanted to include them anyway because they kind of play like a mainline game, or they were just in the tier list that I found. There's a couple I'm looking at that maybe don't match the definition of a mainline game, but that's okay because I wanted games like this in here because they kind of play like mainline games and I really enjoy them, so I wanted to get the chance to include them in my ranking. And let's just start off. Let's just go in order here. Pokemon Black and White 2. Okay, I have never ever played Pokemon Black or White 2. I played Black and White, but I'll get to those when I get to those. Black and White 2, however, from my understanding, is just like better. But because I haven't played it, I can't justify putting it higher than B. I did, however, hear me out. I did just purchase it like a month, maybe like 3 months ago. But it's in my backlog. I have White 2 now, so I can play through that. And I do plan on playing through that. I've just got some other projects that I'm playing through, and I say projects because they will be featured on the channel here, but you'll have to see when that happens. Now, this is where I'll get controversial because Pokemon is super fun. It's one of my favorite series in general, but I tend to have some pretty odd takes about the games and some not so odd ones. So we'll have to see here. But BDSP, I was very excited for this remake, and obviously it did not pan out to what it was really supposed to be. But I think one of the things I will never forget is when it came out, like, I mean, I'm making myself feel old, but almost 2 years ago, a year and a half maybe. I gotta think about when it actually did. But I woke up early for that morning because I worked. I think I worked at like 5 a.m. But I woke up at like 2 or 3 to play it. And there was just, and yeah, it wasn't the best game in the world, objectively. You know, it had its glitches, it had its issues, but there was a feeling of so much nostalgia there, and getting to relive that nostalgia isn't something that you really get to do a lot as an adult. You know, there is a feeling of playing a really good game that you can get, but as an adult, reliving that nostalgia entirely, like, that was a feeling I will never forget, and that was such a cool feeling that I think it earns that A tier for me in particular. I understand they're not objectively the best games on the earth, and they were definitely full of their issues, and I honestly haven't touched my copy of BDSP since I beat it. So, I see that a little bit, and we just played through Sigma Platinum, which is kind of like the better version of those. If you haven't seen those, make sure to check that out. Or at least my final battle against Cynthia, because that one was kind of crazy. But let's move on. Pokemon Black and White. I actually just replayed last year on my DS. Really good. Just really good stuff. Better than BDSP, objectively. But we'll see. I don't think that's going to last in A tier. I think it might end up going into S, but we're going to put it at the very top of A for now, because I think S might get a little crowded with my opinions. But Pokemon Coliseum, S. I don't want to argue. No, I love both, and you know what? I'll skip ahead to this is how that is going to work. Pokemon XD and Pokemon Coliseum right next to each other, and XD better than Coliseum. I love these games. They have to be some of my favorite Pokemon games. They can be a little limiting as far as like the Pokemon you can get and all that thing, but they're difficult. They are difficult games, and that's not something you get a lot of in Pokemon, and that's not really the point of Pokemon. Pokemon isn't supposed to be, and I think Pokemon Company has made that very clear in recent years, just decreasing the difficulty of things. Like, they're not supposed to be super difficult unless there's certain battles, but this whole game is kind of just tough. Like, you don't get a chance to really level yourself up a lot, which makes strategy a lot more, and the fact that it's double battles, it makes strategy so much more important. And having double battles can kind of open up a little more strategy, I feel like. So I've always had a lot of fun with these games. You'll probably see me play them again on the channel. I've Let's Played both. I'd love to do some randomizers or something, some Nuzlockes, something like that, just because they're very difficult, but I also have a lot of nostalgia and really love those games. Pokemon Crystal, Cheeks, literal garbage, booty. I don't think I really have to explain. I think, you know, I'm not going to skip ahead too much, but, you know, those older games are just hard to replay through. I didn't grow up playing them, so if you're telling me that Crystal belongs somewhere up there, it's probably because you're older than me. And if it's not, I'm sorry. But Pokemon Diamond and Pearl, I'm going to put them in A tier above BDSP, obviously. BSP might end up getting moved because of this, but we're going to put them below Black and White, only because I think Platinum is going to go above that. So I'm willing to concede that they were the worst versions of the Gen 4. Had Platinum not came out, I would probably put Diamond and Pearl above Black and White, which sounds stupid, because like I should rank it, you know, based on the game itself compared to the other games, but what are you gonna do? Pokemon. Ooh, yeah. Here's the issue. Pokemon Emerald, I never actually played through until recently. I've been playing Pokemon Emerald, and it's really fun. I wouldn't say it's more fun than Diamond and Pearl for me, because there's nostalgia factor here. But I think that's how that's gonna roll out. We're gonna put Fire Red in there too. Fire Red above Emerald for me, because I actually did play Fire Red growing up. I did not play Pokemon Emerald growing up, so there's a little more nostalgia here for me, but similar, like, oh man, that was my Outlook email. Don't leave your email tab open when you're recording a tier list video. I don't know if that audio got through, but no, there's a little more nostalgia here for me in Leaf Green and Fire Red. The image says Leaf Red, so I was like, Leaf Red. But I think that's what takes it over. But very similar experience. The Game Boy, I love the sprite Pokemon games. Like, once they did 3D models, it was super cool, but then it kind of lost a little bit of that. I don't know, it lost a really cool feeling of the sprites. Something about the sprites just gives me so much dopamine, I can't describe it. That style. But I wouldn't want them to go back either. That'd feel too forced. Unless they did like an Octopath kind of thing. Octopath Traveler, those of you who know that art style is beautiful. I would love that, see that in Pokemon. But now that they've done 3D models, it'd be really weird to go back, I feel like. Crystal is just a better version of Gold and Silver, so we're gonna do that. But Heart Gold and Soul Silver are like my favorite Pokemon games ever. So I don't think a lot of people are gonna debate me on that one, though. I don't think that's a very hot take. I think these are more of a hot take, having XD and Coliseum up there. But I don't think anyone's really going to debate me. I think they're the best remakes. I know some people will probably debate that Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire are, but like I also put those in. We'll get there when we get there. But I don't think anyone's going to debate me on Heart Gold and Soul Silver being up there. You know, just the best of all the things. You get the Kanto region at the end. Like, that was so cool. The Pokewalker, especially as a child. Maybe not so much now as an adult, but the Pokewalker was like so cool. Just everything about those remakes is just it's a darn near perfect Pokemon game, you know. And with that being said, let's get another hot take in here. We've got Let's Go Eevee and Pikachu, which a lot of people did not think was very good. A lot of people hated the mechanic, and I was the same way. I bought it, played through an hour, and sold my copy. But then I got a girlfriend, and she did not play Pokemon. And I really wanted her to play Pokemon because she was starting to get into video games a little more. My fault. And I thought, oh man, if I could just like get her past the knowledge hump of learning how Pokemon works, like, I think she would really love Pokemon. She likes Pokemon now, and it is definitely because we sat through. I repurchased Pokemon Let's Go Eevee, and we played through it together because it has the co-op feature that allows you to do double battles and stuff, which makes the game really easy. But that's the point. I wasn't trying to have a difficult game. you know? So this game was perfect for that. And now I have a lot of really cool memories with my girlfriend because we got to play this co-op Pokemon game together and it got her into Pokemon. So, that being said, I think I'm going to put it above BDSP for me. But it's definitely not a better game than those. I also want to say that Black and White 2 looks ridiculous in B tier now. I know that. I'm probably going to leave it there because I haven't played it. I can't truly give my opinion. I have a feeling it's going to end up like here or maybe bottom of S. So those of you who are like outraged right now, I feel you. I understand. Just know, you know, I think we're going to do this. I think that the A is getting a little long. But I think this is a fair list so far. Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire, I'm gonna put it in A. Above, yeah. I had more fun with Heart Gold and Soul Silver's remakes. It could earn a bottom of S. They were really fun. I really liked them, but I also wasn't a crazy Gen 3 guy. I grew up with Gen 4. Mostly because I got into Pokemon a little late for people my age. A lot of people my age did play Gen 3 first. But I think that's a fair spot. I think that's fair. It's my list. I don't have to justify it, although that's kind of the point of the video, is me justifying my takes. Legends Arceus, we're gonna also put it was more fun. It was more fun than oh man, I think I want to put it at the top of A. I had a lot of fun with Legends Arceus. It was really fun. It was I really wanted to get all the challenges through. I did. I played it for, like, when I started it and I got hooked, I was gone. I was playing through the whole thing. I almost want to put it in S, but I know I've got a couple S's coming up, so I want to keep this a little more balanced. And that's also going to bump Let's Go, I think, down to B. Just because A is becoming a little less balanced, but top of B. Platinum is also great. I'm going to put it, I like XD a lot more than Coliseum, so I think I'm going to put it in between the two. No, we're going to put it above XD. This is my ranking. Heart Gold is that top of the top, but Platinum is definitely that number 2 for sure. I don't think I have to justify that one to a lot of people either. I think there's a lot of people who are going to agree with me on that. Or at least having it in S tier, maybe not number 2. A lot of people probably put this somewhere in there too. But we'll take a look. Red and Blue, I acknowledge what they did for the series. They started it. But if you ever tried to go back and play through them, same with Yellow. I'll put Yellow above right away. But if you've ever tried to go back and play, it's tough to sit through. It did not age. It wasn't supposed to, though. Back then, it started the series we're all here to watch, and that you're all here to watch me rank because it's such a good series, right? So I think I acknowledge what they did. It's not the worst, but it probably is the worst. But like, you got to give it points for, building the series and creating it. Pokemon Ruby. Well, a lot of people are not gonna like that. And Black 2 feels wrong. I think, can I make will this mess up my, can I add a row? New. Let's title this, sorry. Let's title this Haven't Played, because Black and White 2 does not feel right there. That looks a lot better. Just having it not. That being said, I also haven't played either of the Pokemon Stadiums. Yeah. They're not mainline games, so you didn't come here to see that anyway. But I have not played either of the Pokemon Stadiums. I didn't have them growing up. I had exposure to a lot of N64 games, but I did not have Pokemon Stadium growing up. Which is weird that they put Stadium in here and not Revolution. Because I've played Pokemon Battle Revolution on the Wii. I loved that game growing up, and therefore I would probably really like both Pokemon Stadiums back when they came out, But yeah, not crazy. Sun and Moon, I have a lot of good memories with, but I think it's a C tier game. I think it's the worst mainline. Ultra Moon. Yeah, I think Pokemon Sun and Moon might just be the worst mainline games. Just by, you know what? I'm not giving it enough credit. Sword and Shield are the worst mainline games. That's my take. I think there was nothing interesting going on. Dynamax sucked. Sword and Shield has a little saving grace in that shiny hunting. There were so many methods to do shiny hunting. But I think Sun and Moon was just overall the better game, in my opinion. And Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon were better versions of that. Not by much, but they were. And Sword and Shield 2 started off the controversial Pokedex stuff that I'm not a fan of still. You're always going to hear about that. I am a huge collector nut. I've been working on organizing my Pokemon home to be in National Pokedex order because I want to fill out a living national Ow. Ow. I hit. Oh. Anyway, I wanted to complete a national Pokedex, a living national Pokedex. So not being able to do that in the games and stuff going forward, it feels like it's just really disappointing. It feels like a lazy thing. It feels like Pokemon is rushing out these games because it's a money printer. Which brings me to Scarlet and Violet, which is going to be really controversial for me to do this. But I actually have to put them at the bottom of S, which sounds stupid. I was just complaining about the new Pokemon games, but Scarlet and Violet created a brand new Pokemon experience for me, and maybe some of you too. But on the release day of Scarlet and Violet, I had my girlfriend over, and then two of my other friends came over as well throughout the day. And I just have the greatest memories now of that first launch day, and then the day after too. I had friends over, where we all union circled, and we could like be together, and we could throw out our Pokemon and interact. And granted, I would have really loved for like the option to like double battle trainers together, like all that kind of thing, and maybe that's where they're gonna take that. But even just the memories of being able to lobby up together and be in the same world and like joke around with each other. We did so much just fooling around that first day. We did not get anywhere story-wise because we were just running around together, having a good time, finding Pokemon together. Like, it was so cool. It was so cool. And that experience for me, because I'm someone who really values other people. I really value spending time with other people, gaming with other people. You know, I love my single player games as well, but when I can incorporate a single player style game like a Pokemon RPG with other people, that like puts it above, even if the game itself has its issues like graphic lag, crashing issues, all the issues Scarlet and Violet has that I am not denying. Being able to play with my friends will put it way above that because I value my friendships. I value the people in my life so much. And I didn't mean to get that sentimental. But that's why Scarlet and Violet, which is probably a controversial S tier, is where it is. That being said, Pokemon X and Y, I think perfectly rounded up here in the middle, below Ruby, but above Ultra Moon, because the 3D aspect, finally getting 3D models on that 3DS with Pokemon X and Y was so cool. That was like, especially as a kid, going from the sprites of White, Pokemon Black and White, and going to Pokemon X and Y where it was all 3D, and it was like, whoa. Now, you know, there's been people who have since, you know, we've kind of come to the conclusion that Pokemon hasn't updated the models since, and if they have, it's been very, very, very minor tweaks, and, you know, they were kind of lackluster models, but it was still super cool as like as an early teenager to like see 3D models of Pokemon that weren't the Pokemon XD and Coliseum ones, you know, with all the low quality style back then compared to what we have now. And I think that is our tier list. I think that's a very accurate description of the the games I love. Definitely one of my favorite game series, if not my favorite game series of all time. It's in contention with Zelda, but I think it takes it. And my nerd closet, well, not my nerd closet, I have a shelf that you can't see on camera, and I would pan to it, but the rest of my room is kind of a mess, so. But, no, the shelves are more filled with Pokemon, I'd say, so Pokemon might take the cake on this one. It's also just got better merchandise, I think, though, so that you can't take it all there. But anyway, I want to know what you guys think about my opinions. Let me know in the comments below. How am I wrong? How are you right? How are we the same? How did we agree? But no, let me know what you think, and let me know what your rankings are, where you kind of compare. And as always, if you enjoyed, make sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. And this is HLEEP signing out. Have a good one.